Got a fresh room
Basically,
here.
be more open about our sexuality. We had different
Get some people
topics
pinged in.
about learning, about sex. We're always
Let's
here
get some
to
people
learn.
pinged in. Let's get some people
We don't know
pinged in.
everything, and so we can learn to go ahead and maybe better decisions. So just
How you feeling, Yes? How you feeling, Yes?
hey, how you doing, Dr. Scorpio?
Okay, Yes.
Can you hear me, Dr. Scorpio?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear Dr. Scorpio, where you go? So, anyways, again, like I was saying, we're gonna have different topics here. We have Sex Ed 101, where we'll give you more educational topics about sex. Like tonight is masturbation. We also have, we're gonna be able to have foreplay, which is poets are welcome. They recite the little erotic piece while everybody else listens and gets turned on. Make sure you guys tune in to Open Mouse Podcast with myself, Professor Jazz, and my co-host, Dr. Scorpio.
That's a fact.
So I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show. Make sure you guys are sitting down, laying back, listening, tuning in, because we're going to go ahead and make sure you enjoy tonight's. It's Friday, so we got to make sure that we enjoy our weekend, right? Why not start it by tonight's? Make sure you guys share, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Professor Jazz, because you're going to be hearing more about Professor Jazz and Dr. Scorpio. So make sure you guys subscribe, share, share to any platform. Make sure you guys come and support us. Dr. Scorpio, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, I appreciate everybody that's actually been checking out all the classes that we've been doing. So much love to you guys. I appreciate that. Going forward, we got things in today's class that we're going to go forward into about, and it somewhat starts on the psychology aspect when it comes to masturbation. Some
Well,
people say it really
before you start anything, I don't want to interrupt, but we really need to get in the meaning of masturbation.
right. So we're right. So I understand what you're saying. So you want to go to stimulate, right? So
Well, the meaning of it. What is
well,
the meaning of masturbation?
masturbating generally going into just the term itself is saying the stimulate his own genitals for sexual pleasure, right? Stimulate the genitals of someone to give them sexual pleasure as well.
That is
You know,
correct.
so
Right. So it's not
so
about
if
just
you
being in it by yourself, right?
right. No, it's not about just the person or people involved. It's the act of it generally amongst both parties. You feel me? So
Because it could
as
be just by yourself or you could have it with your partner, you could go ahead and, have masturbation. You could have them masturbate on you. So
yeah, and it's like I said, it's just about the act as well, right? So going here actually is it's much better to start from where we are now because now it's simplified just generally like we all understand it, but it goes far to just than one person in the act of one person.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So that kind of break down to go forward into anything else because yeah, it starts in the mind, but the
It-
act is still physical.
right. And it's about, first about being in the mood,
Right.
and then, like you said, it's a mental thing where you had to get yourself aroused. You had to get yourself in the mood. It's not just, okay, yeah, you're horny. You want to go ahead and, you know, bust a nut, like they say. But you have to be in the mood too, because if you just go ahead and do it just to bust a nut, then it's going to leave you just like that, still craving for more. And then, masturbation could be a lot of things. You could go ahead, like everybody does it manually. You do it with your hands, or you have toys. You buy yourself toys. That's why they have toys now to help you stimulate that part to
Right.
go ahead and bust the nut.
And I know them females, y'all familiar with them toys.
Oh, yeah. Well, let me tell you something, and I don't think a lot of people know this. Um, we're going to go ahead and talk about Cleopatra. Cleopatra actually invented the first vibrator. Did you know that, Dr. Scorpio?
I actually did not know that.
See, this is what happens when you do some research about a topic. Okay, so I got to learn about Cleopatra. So Cleopatra actually invented the first vibrator. So I guess one day, she was in the mood. She didn't want to, deal with anybody else. None of her little slaves, little peasants, whatever. Because everybody admired her, but she wanted to go ahead and pleasure herself at that moment. So what she did at that time, she grabbed a gourd. A gourd But I found that it's a vegetable. I didn't even know that. But anyways, it's a big vegetable. It kind of looks like a squash, bigger. And what she did, she hollowed it out. And what she did, she put a little honey or something to attract some honeybees. She was able to get quite a few of those honeybees inside the gourd. And once she got the gourd sealed up, it gave a great buzz. Now imagine, nobody would think that, killer bees. Come on, killer bees, you're going to use them as a vibrator? Well, she did. She really did. So she actually thought about, hey, she heard them buzzing, so why not? Why not put them someplace and use it as a toy? And that's how she pleasured herself.
Yo, why not? Why not put bees up your ass?
Why not, right? I mean, come on,
Why
the
not?
buzz is strong.
And then let that be a horrible way to find out you're allergic.
Oh, wow. If she was allergic to it, imagine that. She will have a swollen pussy. It'll be more swollen. Yeah, it'll be really
Just
swollen.
just how it's supposed.
Oh, no, 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 no. You wouldn't like, no, no, no. No, women do not like that. When their pussy's allergic to something, it's not a pleasant feeling for them.
It's not a good way. It's not.
No, it's not. Trust me. It's not.
Hey,
It's not at all. But hey,
I
it
think
is.
that is a dope historical reference from I guess ancient times, if you will.
Well,
You
it
know,
is. I mean, look how long that was. That was a long time
yeah,
ago. And then imagining from then to how sex toys are now. Come on, we have so many different types of sex toys out there to masturbate,
right,
you know.
right,
Because, the
right.
hand gets tired, so you have to get toys. Come on, that's why they have more toys for females, okay? Obviously,
You
we
know what? You got
masturbate
a
a lot.
point, but I understand though. On honestly, you know, niggas been doing shit for a long time, so it's so many inventive ways that masturbation has been, influencing the culture.
Yeah.
From different cultures. Some people went as far as what I mean, taking like animal parts and stuff like that back then, and then sometimes they would use like other creative ways. Like it's so many different you know techniques, I guess you could say, that they were using back then. So it's interesting to find this out because you hear about so much different,
Well,
like
when a
shit from
girl
these
was
reference
desperate, a
points.
girl was desperate. She was horny,
I
okay?
see.
She
I
wanted to
see.
go ahead and she wanted to bust that nut, like I said, and she used some killer bees. Come on.
Funny as hell.
Well, let me tell you though
Killer
another
bees.
thing. Let me go ahead and educate you guys in another story. So we're talking about the first vibrator there. Now let's talk about the
Right.
vibrators now that they have. I mean, like I said, there's different types of vibrators. Everybody knows about the rose, and then you have, different types of sizes of dildos and the wands. But did you know that, say, your loved one, your spouse passes away, and
Mhm.
usually that happens when you get older, and you're not gonna go ahead and date at some point. You get older, and you're just so used to that partner that you're not gonna go ahead and try to look for someone else. So what you can do
Right.
now, you could actually go ahead and create your own vibrator with your spouse ashes. So you cremate your spouse, and you could go ahead and send some ashes. So just, I can't remember how many ounces. I think it was like 8 ounces or something like that. And you send it to them. They put the ashes in a little tube that goes inside this glass dildo. Okay, it's a glass dildo. So this way, the little tube that goes in there, you could actually see your spouse's ashes. So this dildo, once it's created, you get to take it home in a nice little box, like a little wooden box that could be safe kept there. And then when you're ready to use it, well, you're gonna use it. You're gonna be still fucking your spouse because
Right.
you have the ashes inside that dildo.
How do you feel about like the way that that has like elevated self pleasure in general? Like, is technology integrated in the toys now?
Well, I think it's just so advanced now than what it was before. Before it was, masturbation was dealt in a different way. Masturbation before was more open. You could be out there and you could be jacking off in front of somebody else, a group of people, and it was normal. And nowadays it's more like people don't want to talk about it. It's embarrassing.
Right.
And why is it embarrassing? You're pleasuring yourself. You're getting something good out of it. Why you have to be embarrassed about it? Why you have to hide it? Why do you have to deny it? Why not do that, not just by yourself, but with your partner? Or it
Yeah.
doesn't, I'm not saying you go out there in public and go masturbate. I'm just saying, we need to maybe be more like, okay, yeah, you should do this behind closed door in your private cell because it is masturbation, but you don't have to deny it.
Right. I mean, shit. It's just a part of. I don't know. I guess you would say your relationship structure.
Yeah.
So if you dealing with somebody who doesn't have a high sex drive like you want stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's gonna be just consistent. You're gonna have to make some type of consistent basis to make sure that you're in the mind frame where you don't need or desire anything, or do something like cheat, or that could lead to cheating.
Well, and that's why there's masturbation, that's an option where, say, you're having sexual issues at home with your partner. What would you rather do? You rather go ahead and masturbate, or you rather go ahead and find somebody else to cheat? I mean, I'd rather go ahead
What
and
they
try to go ahead
what
and
they be saying?
masturbate and be at home, right?
What they be saying ain't nothing like the real thing.
That's true
You
though.
know,
That's
that's what they be saying.
but
Shit,
hey,
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying it's a backup, right? Just in case. I mean, we're not
I'm
always
talking
in
shit
the
though.
mood. So if you're not in the
And you,
mood, your partner's not in the mood, then you have toys.
everybody should do the right thing out there.
And
Make the
what's the
right
right
choices.
thing?
You know, don't hurt anybody.
Don't hurt nobody. Well, yeah, don't hurt nobody. So make sure you
Send somebody,
masturbate. Make sure you
yeah,
masturbate. If you
or
can't
send
fuck,
somebody
then
a
make
little like
sure
a,
you masturbate so then you could go ahead and release some of that tension and not hurt
hmm
nobody, right?
uh yeah, that's a good point though. So, I mean, from the standpoint of, I don't want to make it like man versus woman or anything like that, but like, where do you feel like when it comes down to just like the mental part of masturbation itself? Do you feel like men and women are kind of doing the same things mentally, like when visualization is going on,
Oh no, I
or
think it's way
you know?
different between men and women.
Okay,
I think
okay.
men are more visual. That's why they invented porn, videos, movies. They're the ones that are more visual. Like for me, I can't speak to about all women, but I can say for myself that that's why they invented romance novels, because those romance novels is what get us started in the beginning. We read it. We're more like, I like to read porn, not watch it. But I like to go ahead and since I'm working my mind, why not let my mind take me away to the way I want it to go? I could go ahead and read and pretend that I'm in that book. I'm reading that story and I'm
Hmm.
the character.
I mean, trust me, we do that too, but we got our own way.
Uh huh.
What is
And
that
what is
type?
that?
I mean, it's the same thing. That's why I wanted to understand from your perspective. Like, what would it be like? Just I mean, obviously, you may be just naturally like, I'm finna just go do that. Just gonna go. I'm just gonna handle my business. But then after that, like, most women, I guess, it. Most women I've talked to, they would act like they don't watch porn. But then, on the contrary, it's a lot of them that do.
Well, I didn't
So
say I don't watch any at all. I'm just saying.
see, look at you. You saying, look. I'm just saying generally, like as a conglomerate of some of them, like because I actually do, you know, I understand everybody not gonna do the same shit.
Yeah,
It's just what it is naturally. Everybody's not gonna do the same shit, so I can't expect the same reaction from somebody else that's doing.
you got cut off.
Care?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
No, you got cut off. You were saying something and you got cut off.
Oh yeah. I was saying that. Yeah, it just depends on
It
how
just
you
depends
decide
on,
to handle yourself.
right. I mean, I can go ahead and say, when I started when I was young, I confess, I found my dad's porn magazines, and that was more visual at that time. But then again, then your mind takes you to wherever it wants to take you, right? Um, the mind is very strong, so it could go ahead and have this visualization that you're actually part of it, and that's what gets you off a lot of times. It's what you see in your mind. What do you think, Dr. Scorpio? I mean, like I said, I prefer myself in reading more erotic stories. I would like to go ahead and read the whole story from the beginning, to lead me up to that part where they start, having sex. I mean, I think what I've seen, what I have researched, that there's more women porn directors, and they're trying to bring out different type of movies where it's not just what the typical porn movie is. Men are more dominant, more aggressive, and most of them, and it's kind of hard for a lot of women to find the porn that they like. We like more, like we say, more to start from the beginning with some foreplay, some teasing, and lead us to. It's like a whole story we want from the beginning to the end, and we want more. Like again, we're more the nurturing time. We want affection, more to show kissing and everything that leads up to the fucking. It's. Not just fucking. Dr. Scorpio, did you leave? I would like to welcome our other co-host too, Trigger right now. He's here. And Trigger, would you like to say anything about your thoughts about this topic? Or does anybody else want to say?
Had some technical difficulties. I apologize.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
I was trying to find out from our other co-host that Trigger, but he's a little quiet right now. He's a little shy, maybe.
okay. Well, yeah, um, he's gonna get his demo straight. He's still here with us right now, so we good. Um, but yeah, going forward though, yeah, I did want to jump into like one of these things that I was looking into, and it was interesting to me because when you brought up the whole Cleopatra thing, it was like so many things came to my head. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. That's why I thought about, like I was saying earlier about this. It's so many different things I heard about people doing things like just to have contraceptive and all type of stuff. So they would use stuff and be creative to make the process go forward and shit. So I found this article and I wanted to kind of go over it right here. And it was talking about psychology and shit. Well, actually, I think we actually pulled this up together.
Yeah, we can
But
go ahead and talk about the history, you know.
yeah, so it says some people who do so in part to contain, but for various reasons, many people end up in the sexiest or virtually sexless marriage. Even sex does take place, it may not be satisfying or satisfying enough. Sex surveys are notoriously unreliable, but the top complaint about marriage on Google is lack of sex, with sexless marriage entered into the search box 8 times more often than loveless marriage. That's pretty crazy.
That is.
That's pretty crazy. Let's go forward with some other part here.
And
So,
that's downside to interrupt. But I just,
oh,
like what you said in the beginning, it's like a lot of people try to go ahead, like we talked about. What would you do? Would you rather masturbate first, or would you rather go to somebody else and cheat? I
yeah,
mean, and then you talk about sexless marriages. I mean, what do you do in that moment? There's so much that a person can take. People, no matter what they have needs, their body has needs, and that's
right.
sex is part of normal life. So when you're in a marriage, you're supposed to, I think, automatically have sex, whenever. But it's because it's shared between both of you guys, and that's it. But when one is not capable in any way that don't want to have it, then what does the other person do? And
Sometimes
then
it's hard.
and then would you tell your spouse, it's like, okay, would you go hide that you're masturbating? Like, would you go, because I think, quite a few movies that's, shows the guy in the bathroom jacking off to a porn magazine. He hides it from the
Mm-hmm.
wife.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, let me go ahead and play this clip first before you go on with the history. Can I play a clip? I want to play a
Yeah,
clip, and then I want to go ahead, and it's a funny clip, and I'm sure if people saw this movie, then we'll be able to relate to this movie. But let me go ahead and try to get it linked in here.
sounds good to me, man.
Uh,
Yep.
but I mean, if you could keep talking, if you just go ahead and get this up and ready.
Yeah, yeah, man. Get more people in this room, man. Let's get some shares going
Yeah, let's
on.
get some people on Clubhouse. Get some people on Clubhouse and get them on YouTube. We have to make sure that people go ahead and tune in to our Open Mouse podcast. Tonight is
That's a
Sex
fact.
Ed 101, Open Mouse. And tonight's
That's
topic
a
is
fact.
masturbation. With myself, Professor Jazz, and my co host here, Dr. Scorpio.
That's a fact. Yeah, so I think it's funny that that aspect was brought up though. I think that was funny. I'm like, wow, that's interesting.
But it's crazy, it's like I was reading upon it, I know you're gonna go over it, but I just feel like it was so different from before to now. It's like it used to be normal. It used to be normal to be basically, having people watch you while you're masturbate or having sex with someone. It was normal back then, and now it's like, you still hide it. I mean, you have these parties or whatever, you have your orgies, but it's still not open like how it used to be. It was fine before because it was something that you were allowed to do, that it was okay because it released the stress, the tension, and helped a lot of people back then. It
Hmm.
helps a lot of people now, huh?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people probably, at that time too, it wasn't taboo to probably do something like that, so
Yeah.
You got
A
that
lot of things
aspect.
weren't before, but now seems like
Yeah.
it has, and I feel like people are just if you hide things, no matter what are you gonna do? You're gonna go ahead and do it because somebody told you no, don't do it, so you're gonna do it.
Hmm. And that's the
I
aspect that we deal with now.
can't
I mean, I
play,
know it was a lot of different
I can't play
rules
the
and
video right
structures
now,
back
so
then.
you keep talking
Okay,
about
yeah,
your
yeah.
kids.
Take your time. Yeah, we'll take time. But yeah, it's interesting though. But yeah, back then it was just a different time, man.
Yeah.
So so masturbation is a stimulation, often manual, of the genitals for sexual gratification. Masturbation is depicted as prehistoric cave paintings and has been observed in many animal species. In an Egyptian myth, the god Atum created the universe by masturbating, and every year the Egyptian pharaoh ritually masturbated into the Nile. In some traditional cultures, masturbation is a rite of passage into manhood, although there is some groups, notably in the Congo Basin, that lack a word for the activity and are confused by the concept. So that in itself is interesting because it puts it in the perspective of, like we said earlier, just more of like ancient practices or things people did when it came to sex generally, and it
Yeah.
also probably came with a form of knowledge or some type of ritual or some type of um real meaning to it besides just getting a nut off. I'm sure it was like actually meaningful. So like you see how this says, it was a rights to man, a passage into manhood.
Yeah.
You feel me? So you got that aspect. So I'm sure in some cultures across the world it varies on if it was permitted or not amongst between men and female and stuff like that. Everybody lives different lives. But from a consensus like this, I can tell this is something where people kind of always done this, you know what I mean? And it only gets more perverted as time goes on and more
But perverted is good
experimentation.
though,
I mean, it depends
to an
on
extent.
what we're looking at. Depends on which way you want to say,
Right, because being perverted
But yeah,
sometimes is illegal.
exactly. Being some forms of that is 25 to L. You hear me?
Yeah.
So you might want to make that move. You feel me? But from a historical standpoint, I think that shit's interesting. Just from just generally, you can just see where it like has always been prevalent, like sexual expression, or I don't want to say just a little like per se, because it's not like you know anciently people were lying sexually. I doubt that, but I feel like just that what I mean, that concept where it's just like sexual freedom per se.
And that's what it's
This is
supposed to
the way
be.
we want to.
It's supposed to be that sexual freedom.
Yeah, that's the
And it,
that's the idea.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So I mean forward, man. Now I understand. So now I don't gotta think twice about that. Like how or what actually comes about when what I'm saying, you look at this from an ancient perspective. When I seen this stuff prior to, I said, "Wow, this is interesting," especially from a hieroglyphic or like prehistoric cave painting type perspective.
Yeah.
So that definitely showing you how long we've been doing certain shit.
We've been doing it since the beginning of time. I mean,
You know what I
I
mean?
really do think that, come on, at the caveman times, they invented the wheel. Why wouldn't they invent some toys back then?
Hey, yeah, you got a good point though. Or if it was
A
just something
toy
that
made out of
niggas
rock.
just did. Yeah, exactly. Or it was just shit that niggas just did.
Yeah.
Niggas just know, hey, if you do this and put this together, you could do this with it. And niggas probably like, oh, okay, cut a hole in it or something.
They will go ahead and grab themselves a woman so they can go ahead and take them back home and use that new invention that they started at. new vibrator.
Cut a hole
No,
in the
it'll be a
or
dildo.
something.
It'll just be a dildo. You just go ahead.
Oh shit, you got that. They probably should use a banana or something.
No, but that's this thing. I mean, the people that actually did invent the first vibrator, like the actual, they
Yeah, yeah,
invented it for
yeah.
women. It was two doctors. Two doctors that
You didn't wasn't it like the machine was like big as fuck, like big as a Toyota or something?
no, not that
The
big.
first joint.
Almost. But
Okay, I
it was
thought it was
like
big as hell or some shit.
actually I had to pull it up. It was like it had to be attached to like some kind of fan or something.
Yeah,
And
I need a fan. That's crazy. That motherfucker definitely gonna electrocute the bitch.
it was to fan out the pussy after it got all heated up. That's what it was.
Yeah, I see. Overload.
It was actually called a
Shit.
hysteria. It was called hysteria. That's actually a movie about it called Hysteria, because women
Right, right, right.
were not getting sexually satisfied by their spouse. So,
Mhm.
they became very moody, very emotional. They would be more upset, and they will even get arrested back then because the way they were acting. And then these two doctors were trying to do research on these women, and they realized they needed a pelvic massage. A pelvic massage helped them get aroused and actually relieve the tension that they had, which was an orgasm. So
Right.
these two doctors decided, hey, let's make an invention. Instead of them making actually an appointment to come in to see us for a pelvic massage, why not invent a toy that could help them, because we'll be tired doing all those pelvic massages. Because as soon as one woman decided to go in there and actually had her orgasm, a really huge orgasm, she decided to tell her friends. And then so the friends started to make appointments with this doctors, and that's when they decided to go ahead and make this invention called the vibrator.
And that
And it
just
helped women. It helped
crazy.
women back then.
I mean, I have to give it to the scientists for doing their work. They had,
Science is good.
it
The
seems like,
science is great.
yeah, I would be that kind of a doctor if I need to be. I'd have to be my service to the
Oh,
community,
you are
cause
Dr. Scorpio, you got that PhD.
yes, but it's different degrees out here, different fields. So you know what I mean.
You
Some
had to
things,
have a PhD for
yeah,
pelvic massage.
something like that. You feel me? But yeah, that's just a interesting thing there, and I know it is some flicks that go to that, so we got to make sure we put that down in the discourse, up in the mansion. You feel me?
I'll go ahead and post them up
Have to
on
check
our
that out.
Discord.
Yeah, we definitely. Um, I probably had to put the link to Discord in the chat actually. Okay. But yeah, yeah. Um,
But yeah, the masturbating really does help a lot, and it affects the brain in,
yeah.
positive ways and in some negative ways as well. The positive things, of course, we know it releases the tension that we have, the buildup, because masturbating should be a healthy thing. Well, it is a healthy thing. It should be something normal that you do. I mean, what? How many times do you think it'll be normal to masturbate in a week? Would you do it daily? Would you do it just once a week, twice a week, or maybe you go once a month? So there's
Me,
some people that don't even do it.
yeah. It all depends on the person and the sex
Yeah.
drive too, and if they're in the relationship actively and what their sex life looks like there. So it's a lot of different factors that make it, so you have to think about all of that shit. Now, if you're saying just generally like, um,
Well, I just wanted to say,
how
there's
many times
a lot of good benefits.
generally, oh well, I'm with even looking at it that way. I mean, if you look at it from like a point like a person does it like 3 times a month, it can probably like reduce stress or something. And this probably just helps them out mentally, like not
Three
feel
times a,
so
you said 3 times a month?
deprived. Yeah, I mean like 3 to 10. I would say like 3 to 10 times or something. 3 to 7 or something.
That's normal.
And I feel like that's very normal.
Okay, is that
I
normal
also
for
feel
like a
like
single
it's not
person or a
for
person that has a partner? I mean, it can't just be.
yeah, not that. That's why I said things. That's why I said that earlier, right? That's a great question. I personally feel like me personally, if there's nothing going on there that can, restrict or prohibit niggas from just getting it in, niggas should be getting it in. That's just my, you know what I'm saying?
But what if it's like,
That's just how
say,
I see it.
what if it's in the morning? Okay, you wake up, but your girl is already left for the day to go to work. Then what are you gonna do? Are you gonna go ahead
Mhm.
and masturbate then,
Probably so. I mean, shit.
or are you gonna wait
Most
till
niggas
she comes
probably
home?
would. The G thing to do is to not masturbate though, and wait till she come home,
But what if you can't
and then
wait? Maybe you just want to go ahead and have the first, bust a nut the first one, so then you can last long on the second one when she comes home.
that's what they say.
That's
That's
what
what
they
they
say. I
say.
don't know. So,
I mean, for me personally, I feel like I would just. I mean, I don't really need to do that before. I understand why people do say it though, because it was a point in time. It's like when you master yourself, because even masturbation is like mastering yourself. You feel me? So it's like just mastering your discipline and holding out your will. You know what I mean? Through the act that can transfer into other aspects of life, like using discipline. But just just the act itself, if you're looking at it from a point of like, what is masturbation per se, and what does it do for the mind? You know what I'm saying? It can actually be beneficial, and I can see that. So if a nigga is stressed in a relationship or without a relationship type shit, if a nigga is in that kind of mental standpoint,
yeah,
him personally just handling his own business, of course, helps. But sometimes it can spiral into some other shit.
they could.
You know what I mean? That's when you have the niggas that's like serial killers and shit.
Oh shit.
No, I mean for real.
Yeah, there is.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it just depends.
Niggas
The
be
mind works in a different way, and it depends of because everybody does not think the same way. Like you said, it's
mhm.
like what you said, like 3 to 10 times a month, depending on the situation, right?
Right, and I'm saying that loosely, so this
Right.
is not based off statistics. This is my personal opinion. Like if that was what was going on,
Right.
I'm not saying that's what I do, but I'm saying if somebody just said, "Yeah, I do this like this, whatever," I would say, "Okay, that doesn't, what I mean? That don't mean nothing. That's normal." You know what I'm saying? But for me personally, it's a mixed bag. I feel like yes, it definitely beneficial to somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like you might be real mad at your partner or something. You might, feel like, dude, I'm finna go out to the club or I'm finna go do some other shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? But then you might be like, man, let me just go ahead and do this shit real quick. And then you wake up and be like, okay, I'm cool. I could do some other shit later. You know what I'm saying? I'll just go out with my friends later or something. You know what I'm saying? In spite of just being mad at your partner at that time, you know what I'm saying? That could stop you from doing something you probably shouldn't do or
Right.
some shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it has its benefits at certain points in times, which is why it happens and why it like exists. But I feel like it doesn't really mean anything either. So it's not really positive either. So you just kind of like wasting yourself. For y'all, it's a little different. Like our life force is in the seas. You feel what I'm saying? It's in the sea. You feel me? So it's different. So it's like the way I see it is, it's not good, but it's not bad either. You know what I'm saying? It's just nothing. It can be utilized for something with a purpose, which is to just be like bettering yourself on a individual standpoint.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That would be cool. But if you're talking about just like niggas just don't want it to do it, it's like yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like that's some shit you do when you're 13.
But sometimes some people like to go ahead and just masturbate, and they find that sometimes better than having sex with their partner because, like you said, maybe they're pissed off or whatever, and that helps relieve the tension at least at that moment, because again, you want to try to do your best to work out that relationship, but before you do something stupid, that's why you have your hand there. You have two that can help you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, funny. It's hilarious.
Yeah, but
Almost
sometimes
like
the negative stuff, like
save your own ass.
some people could get hooked on that. That's the thing. Like I said, some people might like that a
Oh
little
yeah,
too much that they rather do that like every day or every hour,
hmm
whenever they can.
and that's why I was saying how
And a lot
it
of
can
times that
be
happens though, but
counterproductive.
when we're young, when we're young and we just start experimenting, and then we just
Right.
felt, okay, it was a good sensation, so why not do it again and again and again and again?
Exactly.
Some people get hooked.
But that's the problem. You know, like we saying, you know, it could be beneficial, but then it's like it could be problematic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
And
I see it from both ways.
they have said, if you do it too much, then you lose like sensation there, which
That too.
it's not
And I
losing
don't know what makes
sensation, but you're
them.
getting that sensation where you're getting used to that, and that's the bad thing about it.
Oh,
You're
right.
not
I see
losing
what you're saying.
sensation, but you are losing where you're getting so used to that, like you know, some women can get just liking the vibrator too much because of the different
Right.
sensation. Of course, you don't see dick vibrating like that. Well, unless
Right.
if they put
Exactly.
one of those cock rings, then that's something different.
Even that's just it's to mimic. You know.
See, they didn't have cock
So
rings before. Imagine if Cleopatra had all those the sex toys that we have now. Imagine if Cleopatra had those toys back then.
I think the world would have exploded then. You know. That's what I think.
That's what you think,
That's just
okay?
personal.
And this
Yeah, I
they
don't
have
know.
said though, that it does help with depression and anxiety. So it's a good thing
Right.
to masturbate, especially if you don't have someone. If you're single, whatever, you don't want to go ahead and go in one of those hookup apps, then just go ahead and masturbate, right?
I feel you. I mean, I feel you. Like I said, I feel like if it's not productive, it's not gonna mean anything.
Right, right. But I don't like to just go ahead and just start doing it. I rather go ahead and get myself in the mood. Maybe some of us women like to go ahead and play some music, to get us in the mood. Light some candles, maybe get in the bathtub and play with the bubbles.
Right. Right. Whatever way want to do it. Whatever way you want to handle yourself. You feel me? So that's up to you. You know, some niggas just want to go straight into it. Like, no way, yeah,
Well,
I'm
and
about to
that's
hit
what they
it
say. Mostly you guys just go straight to it.
It's late at night. You scrolling.
You
You're like, yeah, I'm finna go ahead,
just do a quick nut and go to bed.
and go to
See,
bed.
and that's what it does too. After you masturbate, you get tired, and you go ahead and have a good night's sleep.
Yeah, it definitely, like I said,
It
it's
helps.
some micro benefits there.
There you go. It puts
Like
you to
it's some
sleep. So
micro.
you go ahead and do it at night, so you go to bed, get a good night rest, and then you do it in the morning, so you go ahead and wake up in a good mood and go to work, and you'll be good.
Kind of,
Or whatever you have to do, but you'll be in a good mood because you busted a nut in the morning.
well, here's the thing. I feel like I used to play a lot of sports growing up, academically and shit. So we would have these tournaments, and they would be sometimes like big tournaments. So depending on if it was state or regional or something. My coach would always tell us not to have sex before a game, and I think my cousin was the first person to tell me because he was actually um, the reason as to why I started wrestling, and I started doing a lot of different sports at that time. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, yeah, my coach would always tell me, yeah, don't do it. You know what I'm saying before you have a tournament. And my cousin actually said, prior to that was like, you're not supposed to have sex before you have a tournament. And I was like, why? And then, my coach was like, well, you're going to deplete yourself. So you all your will, your might, you're gonna lose it in the fight.
Okay. Hmm. So you weren't able to do that. Is that what you're saying, right? We can't hear you.
Here,
Yeah, I can hear you now.
yeah. So sorry about that. But yeah, it's about your might. So it's like you deplete yourself before you have a fight, and it's almost like it makes a lot of sense because I think I do remember one time. I think I just, what I'm saying, you know, probably just masturbated or something, and then because at the time I did have a girlfriend, I think, but I don't know if it was this particular time. But I do remember one time that shit did end up happening, just keeping it a buck. And the next day, and I'm like 17 or something at this time. So, what I'm saying? It's not like yesterday. But the next day, I had this meet, and I could definitely feel more fatigued and shit. Like,
Oh,
feel
really?
tired. Yeah, like, you, 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 you don't feel as energetic because, like, your energy is in the seed. You know what I'm saying? So, it makes perfect sense as to why he said not to do it, but I didn't understand it at first. So this is why I was saying like it's a good and a bad thing. Like yeah, you can do that and stuff, but what I'm saying, if you discipline yourself, you can utilize a different part of your sexual power. You feel me? So like it's hard not to do it sometimes, but
Right.
sometimes it's sometimes. But when it's consistent and ridiculous, you have problems. And some people go on binges on not having, you know, no interactions with masturbation. Like they can have sex, but some people practice on basically not coming when they're doing it. You know what I'm saying? And basically you know, just pleasing the woman, basically, if that makes sense. So Yeah,
Um,
it's just
yeah.
it just for me personally, that's just how I view
Well, yeah, I mean, I can understand that they wanted you to be more focused, not be distracted in any type of way before a game or whatever you had to do. Excuse me, but like I said, everyone is different, and some people actually do masturbate to go ahead and just relieve that tension or really to wake up to be in a good mood or to get a good night's sleep or for whatever reason. But one of the reasons should be is you should go ahead and learn your own body. You should learn what you like and what you don't like, what you're comfortable. You have to make sure you loosen up basically. You explore yourself. Like I said, you get to learn what you like, how it feels different types of way by yourself before you do find a partner, then you could go ahead and try all those things. So if you're more into knowing what you like, you'll be more open to communicate with your partner. Hey, I like this. I like to go ahead and be touched this way or kissed this way.
it.
And it'll be more pleasurable once you go ahead and have sex.
Okay, and from what you're saying right there, I see how all that can just happen from every different way, like how you mentioned.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you know, I agree with some really good standpoints on the benefits because those are true factors.
Yeah. I do it to get me motivated on the day.
That motivates you. So,
Well,
is that
hey,
what you're saying?
you're right. There you go.
Funny
That's
as
what
hell.
I'm
So
saying.
you wake up in the morning like, right,
No.
I
No,
can't wait to
I
wake
mean,
up,
come on, there's
go to
other
work,
things, but it does
or I can't wait to
sometimes
go to
help,
sleep.
I guess, to push the day. Start off your day
Right.
really good.
I'm sure it does. Right. For me personally, I mean, like, I just kind of,
But
I
then you do
try
it
to,
for other reason too. Maybe sometimes I can't go to sleep and do it, so then you go ahead and get tired. You never know. You could do it for many different reasons. But the whole thing is to just go ahead and do it and not to go ahead and feel like it's embarrassing or anything. I mean, if you do it, you do it. Okay. So
I agree with
if you have a partner, okay. Well, if you
that.
do it because they're not there, okay, don't
You,
feel embarrassed about it. You do it, you do it.
you know, it's a,
Maybe you're doing it because you miss your partner.
yeah, you got that too. It's a
Right.
lady that she does a lot of shit on TV, and she had this one episode where I guess she's kind of like she's not like a sex telephone worker, but she has people call into her show and they talk about sex. Sometimes they call about raw little stuff. I can't remember her name, but this one person called and was talking about masturbating. He was how he was struggling with it because of the religious aspect, and he was talking about he feels bad and he's had a problem, you know, like stopping. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah, because it is what it is. That's where he's at mentally. So now, with the religion combined with that, now it becomes like an ego factor. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
she was like, "Hey, look, it's okay to do that. You shouldn't be thinking about this as like a sin per se. You know what I'm saying? It's really kind of guidelines. You know, you know what I'm saying? Because if you fall a little bit off the way marker and shit, you can still, what I'm saying, make your way through if you just do the right shit. If that makes sense. I'm like, put that in words. But like I said, you know, that's kind of where people are when it comes to it. So sometimes you create like an ego complex with yourself, and you like separate, um, you know, the act and the morals of like what's really put that, you start thinking about that shit, right? And now you're putting it on perspective when you mix this religious aspect to it, and not just, from a Christian perspective, it could be from any perspective. Because, what I'm saying, like I said, all cultures come with certain religions or certain spiritual practices, and they all have their viewpoints on what masturbation is. Some, are, they look at it as it's permissible and it makes sense to do. Others, not so much. And so, but yeah, that's a good perspective. Just genuinely, like I was glad I heard that from her. She was like, basically she just telling the dude like not to be guilty. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And to just be like, okay, well this is cool because I'm just doing something with myself. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm just doing something with myself, and I don't have to look
Right.
at it like as if I'm doing something bad. You know what I'm saying? Which is
Religion takes a big part in this, about masturbating. A lot of them say it's a sin, that you're not supposed to do that. That's a sin.
right,
And again, we're pushing it to where we have to go ahead and not talk about it or, be embarrassed if somebody else finds out.
right,
I mean, there's so many things that, especially as, when you're a teen, when you're going through puberty and your body changes and you're starting to go through that, especially when you start touching yourself. You don't want other kids, you don't want friends to know at that time, some kids where
man.
they
What?
feel really embarrassed that they're doing that because they don't know what's going on, because they don't get educated as much.
Yeah, now that part I will agree on. They not getting educated as much, but I'm
You
putting
learn
it.
from
Yeah,
a lot of parents don't talk about it.
you get what I'm
You learn
saying.
from school and your
You
friends.
feel me? So yeah, they doing
Yeah,
it. It is crazy
yeah.
because I can only imagine what's going on now to a degree. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure it's still good, wholesome, innocent kids out there, but it's a lot of
There
them.
it
It's,
is.
it's yeah,
And again, we have pushed it, and again, we were just talking about religion. That takes a huge part in this, where again, back then it was okay, it was normal to do it, in front of people. Now it's more like, okay, well, you do it behind closed doors. You don't really talk about it, really,
mm,
or you do it outside in public and then you get arrested.
type
you
shit.
know,
Yeah, that
so
definitely makes sense. I mean, but like I said, put in perspective of just, you know, it's something that's it's hard to say. Okay, so look like this, right? So can I just go down the street and just go whack one off? You know what I'm saying?
no, you can't. No, you can't. I
Can't do
mean,
it, right? Public decency, sex offender list, the shit
but
just
some
goes
people
on.
do it. Come on, people do it. They get away with it somehow. I
I
mean, you could be in your car, you could be
mean, but
driving,
that's
and
but
then
here's my but that's my
pull out a little bullet.
but no, but I mean like that's
What?
exactly. But that's what I mean.
A
I mean,
bullet is
there's
good.
definitely like
A little
smoking this
lipstick
too.
vibrator in your purse. Hey, you're ready.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, um, it's like a little delay, but it's okay. Um, but like I was saying though, it's not something you could just do. You know what I'm saying? I can't just go out and just do it in public. And like in the middle of McDonald's, everybody just eating and shit.
Yeah,
I'm in the fucking lobby and I'm just like, you know what? I'm finna just go ahead and just, you feel me, at the table and shit. Everybody eating, kids and shit everywhere.
right.
Niggas is gonna, you know what I mean? It's over with.
Mm.
You feel me? So that's an aspect of it where you have to understand, okay, this is something that is still Even though I'm not hurting anyone, I'm not doing nothing to anyone per se. It's still guidelines that come with this shit. So even though I may not even be doing it publicly, or I may not be, what I'm saying, telling people about the shit I'm doing, how many times am I actually doing this shit? And what does it mean to, like, what I mean? Even consider yourself like somebody who just does this regularly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when it comes down to it, it's like, am I doing, what I'm saying, what I want to do? Am I being like, what I'm saying, easily like mentally persuaded into doing it more because I'm just seeing stuff and now it's just making me feel like I should be doing it, or like, yeah, I'm going to, what I'm saying. So it's so many different ways to look at it, like, what I'm saying. So I just see it from all those angles as well. What I'm saying. So regularly, I feel like anybody should be, what I'm saying, handling whatever business they should be doing. What I'm saying. For you, it's something different. From the other person, they probably do need that 10, a month. They gotta have at least 10 times a month, and that's not even what I'm saying, every day type shit. But that's still enough.
Well, that is
Shit.
interesting, you know. Um,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Right, perfect. But yeah, man. I just think it's definitely it's a part of just learning yourself, exploring yourself. That's why I guess they say that some cultures a passage to manhood. You feel me? Because like once you know that, you know yourself, and now it's like you know everything. It's like biting the apple or something. If that makes sense. And it's crazy. I guess that's what that would kind of be like almost
Yeah.
to a certain degree. Like biting the apple is like almost like being like it's like fucking biting the apple, or like having orgasm. Is that better?
Yeah.
Perfect. But yeah, man.
Well, I think tonight's
That's the
topic is
best
pretty
answer.
good. I think, we cover a lot, I mean, there's a lot of things that, goes on about masturbating that people don't know about. Like I say, we need to just be more educated or just be more enjoying ourselves because we should enjoy ourselves before we enjoy somebody else. If we don't like our bodies, how can we tell somebody else what we like if we don't know?
That's a great point too.
I feel like if we know our bodies, it makes it easier to go ahead and enjoy it instead of, not saying anything.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. And
Hey,
I agree with
why
that.
not bust another day, right?
I mean, hey man, whatever works for you. I'm just being realistic about it. So I'm not
You're being
against it.
realistic.
So it may sound like I'm against it, but I'm not. I'm just saying, what I mean. I'm just saying, within reason for my men. I'm talking about for my men though.
Oh, okay.
Pause.
Okay.
But for the niggas out there, you feel me? You shouldn't be, doing it every day.
Not every
But twice a day.
you could
You know
bruise
what I
it
mean?
that way. You could kind of bruise
You
it.
could,
So
yeah,
you don't want to
you could
do
see
that.
problems later.
Hey, they
Yeah,
have they have toys for men too, you know.
and that's another, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's the same thing as just doing it. So, you know, if you're gonna be doing that every day, fucking around with the toys every day, like you gonna run into some problems later, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, just chill. Now, if you was, you know, incorporating the discipline with it, then I'm sure you'll be fine. But like, you know, like I said, some people have problems for real, so it'd be hard to like, you know what I mean, gauge another person on what is right or not right for them. You know what I mean? But
So
hey,
like
man,
I
you know,
said, that was a good topic for tonight, and I hope that everybody enjoy listening to us. We're gonna go ahead and end this shortly, but I just want to say that you guys make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you guys join into Clubhouse. We're gonna go ahead and keep having these shows as long as you guys stay tuned in. We're gonna keep giving them out, right, Dr. Scorpio?
that's a motherfucking fact, man.
So with that being said, I hope everybody has a lovely night, and we'll be tuning in really soon again. Have a good night.